All right, guys, welcome to the MMA Fight Game Podcast with MMA Cage Chatter and Full Contact Promotions. Full Contact Promotions is putting on a massive outdoor fight August 19th, the Attica Take Down at Attica Veterans Memorial Park in Attica, New York, sponsored by Takedown Tree Service of Western New York. We do these Meet the Athlete series from time to time, kind of give a background on the athletes competing, kind of give a background of who they are, what they do, and outside the cage, what they do. We are here with Shannon Rowe. She is been training mixed martial arts for the last 15 years at Godfly. If I mispronounce it, I truly apologize about that. She is actually 46 years old, has a son who also competes in mixed martial arts as well. Shannon, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Yeah, I'm wonderful.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk to me. You're 46 years young. You just recently had your first MMA bout. What got you into mixed martial arts?
Both of my brothers trained mixed martial arts. I've been an athlete my entire life, gymnastics, softball, basketball, volleyball, played in college. I had my son and he was getting older and I had some free time. So my brothers invited me to come to train and I started training. And then over the years, I trained a little harder or a little less. And then my son moved and got married and I had a lot of time on my hands. So I went a little more full time.
Yeah. And what is your family, like mom and dad, your sons think of their mom throwing down in the cage?
My son is amazingly supportive. We trained together at the same dojo along with his wife. She actually got to corner me in my last fight, which was a lot of fun. Most daughter-in-laws dream of hitting their mother-in-law in the face, and she actually gets to do it on the regular. So that's fun for her. And my parents are also very supportive, always have been, of everything our entire life. My mom cannot go to the fights. She's never watched my brothers fight. She's never watched my son fight. She's never watched me fight. But my dad doesn't miss them, and she cheers us on from home. She comes to every other event, but she struggles to watch us get hit. So, but they are amazingly supportive.
Yeah, that's definitely a mom thing that they don't want to see their significant others.
I do watch my son get hit and it doesn't bother me, but I guess I'm a little different.
Yeah, so we were talking with one of your teammates that's also competing on the card, Leanne Diaz, and I kind of got into it with her a little bit. Mixed martial arts. I don't know. Have you ever been to a live UFC event or anything like that?
Yes.
So the reason the UFC mixed martial arts professionally on even a regional level like Combat FC, things like that, the reason they're successful isn't because of us dudes, it's because of you women. And the reason I say that is if you look at the crowd and you look at who's attending, who's going, and who controls the pocketbook, I truly believe this, who controls the pocketbooks in the country are you ladies. You ladies control it. You have that demographic, you're successful. And you go to Vegas and it's like a 60-40 split. Even talking to the guys out in Boston at Combat FC, they're like, we sell like 50% tickets to women. And that's truly why I think, and honestly, I was excited to see, I think there's like 3 or 4 women's fights on this card, August 19th with you and Leanne. And I was excited to see that many because honestly, you guys always come to scrap. Always.
I believe that as well. That's very much the truth.
Yeah. And, I got some recon. I heard you have an engine like you wouldn't believe. Is that true?
I like to be humble, but I do have some pretty good cardio. Yeah. I can go for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. And now your first fight, I heard it was stopped a little controversially due to an eye injury. Something was swollen. Was that your orbital bone or what was going on with that?
I had a slice underneath my right eyelid with a hematoma. And so the doctors were concerned if she struck me to the face again, that it would cause permanent damage. Then they checked my peripheral and my left peripheral was fine, but my right was not there. So they decided to to call it out of an abundance of caution.
Were you happy with the stoppage or no?
Of course not. I was highly disappointed. I actually haven't even watched the video of my last fight because I was pretty bummed out when the 10-second clacker went off. I thought there is no way that's been 3 minutes. Like I have more time, and then they immediately said they had to look at the eye, and they said if she hit me again that I'd be done. I said okay, I won't let her hit me again, and they did not find me funny. I tend to think I'm funny all the time. And then, so they just called it. So it was disappointing, but I feel like I have an incomplete task. So now I'm getting the chance to at least finish the task.
And for what are your expectations for Saturday, August 19th at the Attica Take Down? What are your expectations?
Lynn's an amazing athlete as well. So I think we're going to have a great duel, and I hope to go the distance and really just have a fun time and come out on top.
Yeah, and looking at Lynn's record, obviously she hasn't gone the distance in either one of her fights. Her first fight was a TKO loss, and then the second one was a submission win. Are you expecting her to come out and bang, or what are you expecting her to do? And without getting into your game plan, what are you looking to do that Saturday night?
I would assume she would probably like to go to the ground. That would be my assumption. But I'll be prepared for everything.
And you said your brothers wrestled, right?
Yes.
Where did they wrestle? What high school?
They wrestled at Ripley Central School in Ripley, New York. Okay. And then they both wrestled in college at NCCC. And then my younger brother, Brad, continued on to Brockport and wrestled there as well. And then my son wrestled for JCC, or Jamestown Community College.
Okay.
In Jamestown. And then all of them went on to fight MMA. I want to say my brothers were mid 2000s, maybe like 2003, 4, 5, 6, sometime around there. And then my son was just last year he started.
And your son's 26. His name's Dominic, and he fights in a promotion out in Watertown, right?
The same one that I fought in my last fight.
What is that, Victory? Is that Victory?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Now, do your brothers come in and help you train? Because obviously your two brothers, they got into it in like 03, etc. They were kind of like on the ground floor. The UFC was just starting to gain traction. It was starting to get, MMA was starting to get more recognized as a viable mainstream sport. So they were kind of the ground floor. Do they help you train? Because obviously having some college wrestlers, can definitely help your ground game as their little sister.
Well, I grew up with them helping me train unwittingly, because my dad would say, go over there and let them put you in this move and then get out of it. And so then that is what we did growing up. Currently, my younger brother, Brad, has just started coming back to the dojo. So he has been training with me the last couple of weeks. But prior to that, both of them, Brad has young kids at home. So it's a little more difficult for him to get there. And Kenny is building a house. So he's in the middle of a huge project himself. So they support me by showing up, and Brad has started coming. But our whole lives, they trained me as a child without realizing they were training me.
Oh, no kidding. That's awesome. So Saturday night, how can people get tickets from you? Are there any sponsors, anyone you wanna thank, or anything like that?
Of course, I want to thank Gafar, my coach, and all of my teammates, Leanne, Holly, my son, my daughter-in-law, Dominic and Brittany, Kaylin, Caitlin, Garrett, Josh, the list goes on and on. Wyatt, Erica, Wendy. There's so many people at our dojo that without them, we definitely would not be ready. And then not only my parents, but my extended family, my aunts and uncles. I think when we had the Watertown fight, we had over 40 people there, and most of them were family, or my friends are my family. Two of my best friends came. We had a great time. Shauna from the dojo. I know I'm forgetting names. I feel terrible. Tickets you can get. I do have an Instagram account that has the QR code on it that's the best way to get them because our personal tickets are sold out.
What's
At
that
this
code?
point. I'm sorry.
What's your Instagram?
At Shannon E0315. Don't forget the E, it's important.
Yeah, somebody forgot that earlier when they were sending emails for this call, but they will remain nameless. And before we wrap this up, tell me, you're a kindergarten teacher, right?
Yeah.
And what do the kids, you ever go into school like a black eye or anything like that?
Matter of fact, I have multiple times. These are highly effective usually if necessary. I can just do that and they usually cover at least some of it, but most of them know what I do. And I talk to them about how I do it in a safe and responsible way because rule number 1 in Miss Rowe's classroom is keep hands, feet, and objects to yourself. And then I come in with a black eye and, that doesn't seem to fit the rules, but they understand that it's a sport and I'm well trained. And one student once drew me a picture after my last fight when my eye was pretty impressive. And she said, "Do you see that red on your face?" I said, "I do see that." She said, "That's your black eye." Yeah, nice. Yes, it is. Facts. So they love it. They think it's a lot of fun. And my school family is also very supportive. I'm lucky to have a large group of people around me that love what I do. Not everyone understands it, but they support it.
So piggybacking off of that, what do the parents of your students think of you being a mixed martial artist?
Well, I have a unique situation that I teach in the school that I graduated from, and it's an incredibly small school. Yeah. Our entire kindergarten is 25 students. So a lot of them were either my students already in the past, or we grew up together. So they know my history of being an athlete, and most of them think it's great and are very supportive.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then going into that, what does the administration think of it?
My bosses are also very supportive. They cheer me on from afar.
Yeah. Now, are all those people coming out to your fight on August 19th?
I have a lot of friends and family that are coming out. I less this time. We happen to have a very close friend whose son graduated, and his graduation party is the same day. So some people will be missing, but we do have a large crew. I think we have about 25 coming this time.
Wow, that's really impressive for that.
Our dojo and my family supports well, so.
Yeah, absolutely. The funny thing is, saying that you're a teacher, there's a couple other girls that fight with us at Full Contact Promotions. I've actually had the honor of interviewing Rachel. She's actually a school psychologist or guidance counselor, one of the two. And then we also have, you might have seen her, Victoria Cramp. She's also a dean of a college, like an assistant dean. So the teaching, and I asked the same questions in and out. Now, also before, I know you said you were single offline. Did you do your last fight when you were with somebody? And if so, what did they think of that?
No, my last fight, I was also single. Okay. I've not had a lot of relationships in my life, but my early relationships were not supportive of me doing that activity. That's kind of why the training had ebbs and flows in the early years. I did for a short time date someone from the dojo, and he was supportive, but he also was dojo, so he understood. But I do find that currently it's a little difficult to find people who understand what I do.
Yeah, that's the thing. I always ask everybody because I'm always interested in like the family dynamic, the significant others, even the kids. I'm interested in that because it takes a unique individual to be a mixed martial artist, compete, put yourself out there. Because I don't know if you know a lot about this event, but this event potentially could have between 2,500 and 5,000 people there, which is a massive, massive event. And, there's going to be, I think there's going to be a UFC fighter in attendance in one athlete's camp. Nat Kaba, he's also fighting on the card. He's looking to go pro very soon in mixed martial arts. John Piersma, he's from Synthesis Martial Arts. He's also has a major fight September 15th with LFA that if he wins, and he wins impressively, he'll probably get a call to the Dana White Contender Series. Do you have aspirations? Do you have aspirations to go pro, or are you just kind of doing this and then going from there?
And my toe is tiptoeing into 50, so I'm pretty secure in the fact that I will probably have to finish my career in teaching, considering that age process. But I love the training. That's the part that I love. I love getting ready, pushing my body, seeing how far I can take it, and I will continue to train until my body doesn't allow me to anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. So if you want to see Shannon compete, she's fighting Lynn Smith. She's one of the featured female bouts on our Attica Takedown card, August 19th at Veterans Memorial Park, sponsored by Takedown Tree Service of Western New York. I am telling you guys, women come to scrap. If you come, make sure you're there early. Make sure you get the lineup card. Make sure you're there. Support all the ladies. Support all the athletes, all the fighters. Shannon, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much
For having me.
All right, hold on a second.